Hello everybody, Kathy Arbor here, and today we are going to be doing this really cute little snow scene here. And if you want to paint along with me, you can do that with a traceable that I have for all members of my channel, and you can get this one for as low as $2.99 a month, and that gives you all the access of all the traceables. So if you're interested, feel free to check that out, and then you can just go on the button down below that says join, and I'm just trying to get into YouTube here so I can see who's on. Hey, Colleen. I'm still practicing on StreamYard. I still haven't gotten the hang of it. Colleen. Oops, I'm still practicing on Stream. There we go. Where's the drawing? I forgot. It's in the community page under whatever level you're at. It'll be in there. It's for all the levels, so you can download it. It's called February Birdhouse, I believe, or Winter Birdhouse. And you just download it. It's on Google Drive. Hey, Tori, good to see you. She spins. Nancy, hi. Awesome. Good to see you guys. It's a beautiful winter day here. No snow, but sunny and cloudy here. Cold, -10, but at least the sun's out. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. You're getting some kind of a creative mood going. You're welcome. Yes, if you'll see too, if you download that, it is from the Country's Edge, Volume 5 by Shirley Koenig, I think is her name. So I have the permission to use this. So I thought it would be a good one. Hers has got leaves and stuff in it, but I wanted mine more in the winter. So I just added some snow and took some stuff away from it, but I think it'll be cute. Hey, Janet, good to see you. Mary too. Good to see you. Are you new? I'm just going to, now what I did was, this was how I did I just used tracing paper and made the drawing myself, and then I just took a copy of it and used that. So this is going to be a fairly easy one for anyone that wants to start out in acrylics. You could do this also in oil if you're so inclined, and I imagine you could probably do it in watercolor too. So if you want to use the patterns, feel free to join. It's only like a cup of coffee, $3.99 or $2.99, I think it is, Canadian. So if you're American, it's even cheaper for you. And you get all the downloads. So this is my February folder, actually, because I am behind in my own file folders. So this is just a regular manila file folder. And what I did is, I don't know about you guys, but I have a ton of scrapbook paper. So I found a background for my painting. This is just scrapbook paper. I cut it to the shape of my file folder and used the gel matte medium and glued it onto my file folder, and then also put a layer on top of the scrapbook paper. So this way it's not going to absorb all of my paint all at once. And if I want to remove some paint, I've got that availability. And then I just used a carbon paper, traced it onto my paper after it was dried. So if you want to go ahead and do that, you can do that. And you can stop the video if you're watching this, or right now, if you want to paint along with me, you can stop the video and get your paper glued on or whatever you wanting to do. You can also just get a bunch of colors that you really like. I'm sticking to the kind of the cold colors because it's a winter scene. So I've got the purples and the blues and a little bit of gray in here. So if you want to just sponge paint your background, that would be great too. You're going to try water? Awesome. Make sure you post it. I want to see it. I think it'd be fun in watercolor. And this is just an old tin cup that's kind of hanging off of a nail, an old rusty nail, and it's on a post. Now, the original one had a post going all the way up. It didn't have a bird on here, actually. It had a bird sitting here, but I liked it on the top better. So that's why I put it there. I just changed it up. I don't like to use the patterns that they give you exactly. I like to always put my little spin on it. And these patterns that I've been putting up are all free to use, but just don't sell them. Don't sell the pattern. You can use them for your own personal use, or you can also use it to sell in like craft sales, that type of thing. Not be math. So I did get some happy mail, and it made me very happy. It's from Devin, and she sent me a bunch of her jelly prints and a whole bunch of napkins that I can't believe it. I don't have not even one of them. Like, is wow. And she sent me a very nice, sweet card. I'm not sure if she did it because there's nothing on the bottom, Devin. But very cute card. Thank you very much, Devin. As you know, us Canadians, our postal is very expensive, so we don't get a whole lot of happy mail. So when we do, it's awesome. Here's some of her, and I'm going to be using these. I'm not going to hoard them and keep them. This would be actually, it's some kind of textured paste of some sort, and it's got some shimmer to it. So I'm going to be using this in probably a background. And then she did some of these. I don't know how she did them, but it is awesome because she's got some kind of texture that was put on. I don't know how she did it, but it's really cool. And I love the colors. Another one that would be nice for winter also. Nice background. These are really cool. And There's some of the, I'm not sure if these were the real leaves she used, but it looks great. I love the color too, the blue and the brown together. And these. So these will be good for backgrounds also, or even used as a clothing. You cut them out and use them as clothing. Now there's a scene right there all by itself. The trees, snow, a hill. Like, it's almost done for me. These are great. And then she sent me all of this. These are cute. These will be really neat in little tip-ins. Quick quack. A quarter, Canadian quarter. Flowers, of course. And this looks like some of that specialty paper because it's got texture to it. I think it's a rice paper, and then they kind of put an added rice paper in a bunch, and it makes the circle. Some awesome leaves. I love succulents. That'll be cute for Easter. Flowers, you can always use flowers. And she even took the backs off. She was so nice. And dragonflies and peonies. Or roses, I think, maybe. Mulled wine. Some happy faces. Those would be cute, just cut out for your planner. That's neat. Different squares of pattern. A nice map. I love this one too. This fish one. That would be so cool in a background. Mermaid, I'm thinking. Unicorns. That's nice too. I like that. Oh, and this is really pretty. Look at this. These are agapanthus, I think. Beautiful. Chickens. Who doesn't like chickens? Hearts for Valentine's, just in time. I love this one. Little cat having a martini. Flamingos. And I love this little dog one. This is so cute. So you can cut these dogs out. It's a tissue paper. So there's my Coco. Oh, there's some cats in here too. That's cute. So thanks so much, Devin. I will be using them. It's always awesome to get happy mail from Fibs. Hi, Kim. Yeah, wasn't that nice? It was great to get some happy mail. All right. You're drawing your background? Okay. So, you can also, the pattern that you download can also be enlarged or decreased. So you can print it for whatever you want. So if you want to make something smaller, you can always do that. So what I want, if you're going to be doing this, I'm using craft paint. but I will tell you the colors, if you're not using craft paint, what you will be needing. We'll be doing the post first, just this part here and the house. So we're going to need a burnt umber. So burnt umber in artist grade or craft paint. You'll also be needing kind of a slate blue, and I've got Folk Art slate blue here. If you don't have slate blue, you could always use a Payne's gray in artist grade with some white. Or if you just have ultramarine or cerulean blue, you can put a little bit of burnt umber in it to gray it down, and then a little bit of white. And some white. Almost done this one. It's kind of goopy. Hi, Allie. And what else? A little bit of raw sienna also, or burnt sienna. Raw sienna is a little more orange. You can use it either in art brand or like an artist grade or craft. There's both. The name's the same in both. So just, it's a little more red. And we will be using a little bit of citron green. So if you have a primary green or a yellow, like a cadmium yellow, you can use that and add a little bit of green to it, or just a tad of your ultramarine blue. You don't want a lot. You want it fairly, see, this is very, very yellow green. It's almost fluorescent. We don't need a lot of it, but just a smidge. Another color we'll be using is a mauve or violet color. You want it, you could use dioxazine purple and add just a little bit of white to it. I'm just gonna, and it's just a smidge that we're going to be using of that too. And then the last thing for now would be, did I not bring it? I don't think I brought black up. I thought for sure I did. Hussar green. I might have to go downstairs and get my black. I thought I brought it up. I don't see it. So, oh, here it is. Soft black. Mars black's fine. Any black really will do. You're tracing out? Okay. And you can get out a big bucket of water to clean your brushes. And I'm going to be using this flat. It's a number 12 Craft Smart. It's about 3/4 inch. We'll be using this one the most. If you don't have that, you could also use a filbert. This is a number 8. or an angle will work also. This is a number, this is 3/8 also. This must be half. That must be, oh, this is 3/8. This must be 3/4. Another one that's good to have are the ridge brush or a rake brush. And this is good for feathers or fur, that type of thing. So we'll be using this on the bird. If you don't have this, see if you can find a really stiff bristle brush. Something that's kind of had its day, kind of messy looking. They're great for fur and feathers. So if you've got one of those, that will be awesome. And I just have a liner brush. This is one of those one strokes. And it's just a liner, small liner. It doesn't have the really long bristles. I would say it's more of a detail brush. So those are the brushes you will need. We will probably be using also a paint marker in black and white, if you have one of those, or if you have this is the last thing we put on. So if you have a micron, we're not going to put a lot on, so it's not going to hurt your micron. You could use a jelly roll. It's just that you won't be able to put any kind of sealer on top. If you wanted to put a sealer, it would just wipe away. You could try, depending on the paint you're using, if you're using a craft paint, you can use a colored pencil in white and black. Or if you're using artist grade, it's got a bit of a sheen to it, so colored pencil doesn't really work well. But you could put a gesso finish on the bird that we're going to use it on, and that'll give enough tooth so you could use the colored pencil. All right. Now, in doing this is what is very easy to do. It's more about light strokes and short strokes. So because I have a kind of a bluish background, I want to cover some of that up because I don't want that blue coming through it. It's all right for little bits here and there, but I don't want the whole thing doing that. So what we're going to do, first of all, is kind of make a slate, kind of a slate gray, more on the gray side than the blue. So I've got that, what was it called? It was slate blue, it was called. So it was this one here. And we're going to start off by doing the post here. And because the birdhouse is hanging over the post, there's going to be a shadow in here. And this is going to be a round post. So the shadow is going to be on the bottom part of this post and then down the two sides slightly. So I'm going to have it so that the lightest part is in the center of the post, and that will give you the roundness of the look of the post. But first we want to put a little bit of that blue and a touch of the white in that blue. And don't mix it up too much. Kind of have it semi-mixed because I want streaks in the paint. And so what I want to do is from the top, just go down your post. Don't worry too much about the shading right now. We're just going to get a coat on. And the top part is going to be shaded a little bit darker. Now you can make your post longer if you have a longer piece of paper. That's fine. Just make it longer and you'll have more lighted area. So as you go and put a good coat on there, while it's still wet, add a little bit more of that gray to it, and then just do some light marks here and there. So it's kind of patchy looking. And at the very top, I want you to add more of that blue. And just sweep it down a little bit from the top. So you got a little bit of a color difference. Now it's not dark enough, so that's why I wanted the black. So I want to add a little of the black to that blue now. And just, it can be very streaky looking. That's fine because the wood posts look like that. And then as you go down, you add a little bit more white to the mix. You still have that, you haven't cleaned out your brush yet. So now we want to go down and flick it into that area you just did. So it's back and forth. You can add a little bit more blue or a bit more white to your mix. If you need it darker again, it's just back and forth until you get that proper shading. So it's very, very dark at the top. And I'm just flicking my brush. Still wet. Okay. And before it gets too dry, I want you to do the same thing down one side. So add a little bit more of that black blue with a bit of white. And I want you to just go down both sides and just flick. I haven't added any more paint to my brush, but I'm just lightly putting my brush down and flicking. Now I'm going to clean my brush. So you clean your brush, make sure you get as much of the water out of your brush. You don't want a lot of water in your brush when you're putting down your blocked colors. Okay, so now we're going to leave this, let it dry. And now we're going to go to the birdhouse and we're going to do the same thing. So this time we want that blue shade again. And I want a little bit of that black in there just to darken it. And I'm going to start underneath the roof and go in one direction. And as you go down, you add a little bit more white to your mix. So add a little blue, a little white, maybe a little bit black for the top. Light touch. A little more black for right underneath. Flick it down. Add a little white to it as I go down. Around the hole. Around that. I'm going to put a little more white on my brush. You want streaky colors in your paint. So the white, the black, and that slate blue. But you want it lighter as you go down. So play with it until you get the right look you want. Just make sure the bottom part is lighter than the top part. Oop. Want that. So I'm just painting around the faucet thing. If you want to use your smaller brush, you can do that. Just remember, it's always darker at the top. How's everyone doing? Any questions? So just alter your colors too. You can want some areas, you might want a little bit of a streak of that bluish color. So just play with it until you get the color you want. And this is your base color. So we're going to put a little bit more on after this. So don't get too attached. this side. Mix some white, some blue. A little bit black. Just keep your brush strokes going down one way. You don't want to go across, you just want to go down. Then you can take some white, add it to your brush. You still haven't cleaned your brush. Then rub some of it off. Add again, rub some of it off, and then just lightly go down your center area to the bottom and dry brush. So it's kind of skipping. You're not getting a really definite line. So just lightly. And then I want you to do the same with the black. And just ever so lightly drag your brush down. I'm just going to add a little bit more dark with a dry brush in the black. So you don't want to really press down. You don't want a hard, definite line. You just want a dry brush. Does anyone need to know how a dry brush works? It's time to let me know. So I'll stop and show you. See how it has skipped? You can even add little, sometimes you'll see saw marks, these little lines in the wood, rough sawn wood, which you see a lot of birdhouses done in that. Okay, I'm going to clean my brush. Take all the water out. And with on the roof here, I'm probably going to use a smaller brush. I want to do the same thing, but a little bit more on the gray side up here, not as dark. So this part here is the snow, and this here. So you want to take some of that slate gray color, add some of the white to it, and then just paint in the direction that the birdhouse roof is going. So you can always repaint your feet of the bird if you want. That's why you have your traceable, so you can retrace some things that you cover up. Sometimes it's easier to paint over something than try to paint around it. So I'm just adding that, and I'm still making different streaky looking marks on the roof too. I'm just gonna, I'm not too worried about the shape of the snow because the snow will be done later. So you can go right over top of that if you wanted to. Because snow can be any shape you want. It's just going to be down the middle anyways. All right. And then the overhang of the roof, the first part you see, that narrow little strip there, that can be really a light gray color. So some of that slate blue with more white, and I want you just to paint that area in that color. Make sure it's gray though, because we're going to put snow next to it, so we want to see the difference. You can use a round brush if you want, if you're having trouble with the small areas. This is a angled that I'm using. And then just a smidgen darker on the other side. So add a little bit more blue to that mix. And if, oh, I guess I covered that all up. So we'll just put that there. Now the next little portion right here underneath that area you just painted is very dark because it's shadowed. So I want you to take some of that blue again, add some black to it, a fair amount, because you want it really dark. I think I'll put some blue or umber with it because this black is kind of funky. And then I want you to paint underneath that area, that really dark color. And then along here, that snow, just very lightly, just do a thin line, not as not the whole width of that line that's there, because it's kind of covered up a bit by the snow. So I just want a small bit. And then right there on the corner can be dark. And underneath that snow can be darker. Okay. How's everybody doing? Haven't seen everybody's working. Now after that, then we want some of that gray and white again. So put some white into that mix you had. And now you want to go across that area that's left and kind of do a little mishmash of, you want that streaking paint again, like you did on the front. It's kind of lines in it. And down here. Okay. Well, I can stop. Where are you at? No rush. Did you use a scrapbook background, or did you do your background? A few minutes, please. Okay. So what does everybody want to learn in acrylic painting? What is it that you would like to learn? Would you like to be taught more in one subject area, like how to do trees, how to do um, cherries or feathers or hair or something like that? Or do you like a full scene in what we're painting? So I know some people just want to know one area of it. So if you're watching the recording scenes, leave a comment below because I'd like to know. Buildings, okay. Scenes. So you are more into like landscape, that type of thing, or subject matter like what we're doing here? Many people. Oh, okay, that's an interesting one. Textures. Yeah. Yeah, many people are, that's a good one, Colleen, because a lot of scenes, they're just a scene, and then there's so much more when you put a subject matter like a person in it, and you don't have to get so detailed with scenery people. They're quite fun to make. Yeah, we could do a video on that one for sure. They're challenging. Yeah, I can show you how to do that. It's all about a brush mark with little people, and how you load your paintbrush with paint. Carrot people, yeah. Yeah, that's what a lot of people call them, carrot people. Yeah, we can do some of those. Park benches. Oh, okay. That's funny because I have a bunch of drawings that I've done for ideas, and that's one of them, park bench. For me, it seems hard to pick the right color and color combinations. Yeah, I can see that. That has a lot to do with composition and the color wheel. Rocks. Yeah, I've got some really neat ways of doing rocks with credit cards, palette knife, that type of thing too. Yeah, we can discuss on why some paintings are more noticeable than others, and it has to do with color combinations in your composition, contrasts and saturations and that type of thing. So we could get into that for sure. Just have to think up a way of working with you guys and not putting you to sleep. That can be a really boring topic, but I think I could probably do some paintings, like little thumbnails of how to describe it. Well, thanks for giving me some info, because that always helps me decide what I'm going to be doing in the future. So this is fairly dry now. How are you doing, Colleen? I'm going to paint the inside hole here, and I'm just going to do it in black. Now, if you don't have black, you could do it in a burnt umber and add a little bit of ultramarine blue with it. And this, there's a little bit of it. You see the side of that inside hole because there's a thickness of wood here. So that's going to be a little bit lighter. So with that black, I want to just add a little bit of white to that. So gray it up a little bit just to make it a little bit lighter. And then from the top, you make kind of a C shape around that hole, just on one side. And it gets a little thicker in the center, and then narrows down to as you go to the bottom. So just add a little bit. Okay. Now with this is kind of I guess you could call it shiplap in a way, but the smaller one that you see in wainscoting, that type of thing. So there's going to be a fairly dark line. Now you can use your Posca pens if you have them, in a black or a Payne's gray would do too. And if you look in the drawing, there's this line that goes down, and you can press them a little bit, your brush a little bit wider. As you press down, it makes a wider stroke. You could skip it so that it's not as even, but you want that line to be put in. If you're using a detail brush, make sure your paint is not too thick, or you won't be able to do this. Kind of has to be on a little bit on the watery side. And it doesn't have to be straight. These are old birdhouses. They've been out in the weather for a while, so they're not going to be nice and even and straight. And just draw them. There's one here. And I think there's a couple here. A little bit thinner on the side because it's on an angle. I'm just going to put a little line down here between that dark brown and the gray, just to even that up a little bit. Just along the bottom there, I want it a little bit darker. Maybe along the side here. Just going to add a few more strokes here. My brush is a little on the dry side, so it's giving it a little bit of a texture look. And then you can still have a really sharp point. If you want, you could use your markers. And on the bottom, because the wood has been kind of weathered and stuff, you might have cracks in the wood. So you just, from the very bottom, you can add a few cracks in that wood. You just start from the bottom and then just take it up a little bit. Flick it up. I'm going to do the same for around the hole of where the bird goes in. So maybe there's starting to crack. I'll use a pen and show you what you can do. Hey, Dar. Oh, thanks. So it's a fine tip marker. So we'll just go along the just put a few marks in there where you think it might be cracking. You can put in as many as you want or as few as you want. Might be a little darker. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to put a little bit of that citron green on parts of that wood because when wood's left outside in the winter and then you get the summer and all the rain and whatnot, you'll find that you'll get little bits of concentration of mold or algae. So what I want you to do is just on the roof here, dry brush a little bit, just a smidge here, just a couple areas. And then right around the bottom areas, you can just throw a little bit of that in there too. You don't want your brush really loaded though, just a bit. More dry brushing than anything else. Just to give it a little bit of weathered look. Just a bit more. And you can do the same thing for the post. And this time, put it in the center areas. Just a bit. Okay, now we're going to do the faucet part. And the faucet is going to be more on the grayish side. So you want to mix kind of a medium gray color. And you can do that with your either a Payne's gray and a white or black and a white. So I'm going to take some of my black, some of my white, So you want a medium. And then the very top of it is got snow on it. So don't do that part. And then there's little patches of snow here and there. Just dab around that. So I'm going under that snow line and then try and do the whole area. So that top part. And then as you go towards the center, or the side, I guess you would call it, add some white to it. And do the same thing you did with the, in a flicking motion in the center. And think of the shape of the faucet when you're doing this. So it's round. So once you get that rounded part done, then what I want you to do is take your brush and just flick. Now it's rounded at the top here, and then it's rounded this way too. Chloe, what are you doing? Crazy dog. So then you just play with it until you get it the way you want it. So you're thinking about the shape. I'm going to take a little bit more black on my, and I'm going to do a little bit of outlining. So right around the outline of that, flick it. Put your brush down and then just on the edges. And the back of it is going to be a little bit darker. Remember, there's snow on there, so underneath is going to be darker too. So that circle that's on the birdhouse is attached to this. So do that one a little bit darker. So base coat it. Look at your pattern so you can see where everything is. So there's another one of those C shapes. That's the side of the piece of wood. I should use a smaller brush. Nice. Let's go with the natural shape. Anything you wouldn't. It depends on the texture. As far as knowing which way to take your paintbrush. Sometimes a real shine, you wouldn't necessarily do that. So Colleen, if you're having problems with the shape, use a smaller brush. It might be easier for you. I'm going to put a little bit of, there's also a little ring around this part. That would show just a little bit. And it also shows the definition of the metal. And I need more white. With a little bit of white in the center where you've made that light area. And take it down to the edge of that tap. and just tapping ever so lightly. And then that ring that's on the birdhouse here, that can be a little bit lighter in the center also. So just tap. You can almost use your finger and smudge it a bit. It's kind of grungy looking. It's rusted and I just put a little bit of that light color around the very edge. I think this needs a little bit more dark. I'm going to let it dry though. Might look kind of funny because we haven't painted the snow in too. So don't worry about it. She's spoiled, Dar. Very spoiled. She's sitting on the chair beside me. She's a rascal. What? You're okay. Go lay down. Go lay down. All right. Yep. Okay, so why don't we put some snow on this so then we'll see. It'll look more finished for you. Sometimes when you don't paint these snowy areas or another area that's on that tap, it kind of looks weird and you're not sure if it's right or not. So let's put a little bit of snow. So we're going to take some of that white and a little bit of that lilac. Mix it into your white. So it's a very light mauve, very light. You can hardly tell it's mauve. So I want you to paint all those snowy areas. Don't worry if you go over some of your painting. That's fine. The snow has to be kind of lumpy looking anyways, so if it's not the exact shape that was in the drawing, I wouldn't worry about it. Just do a good coat. And I had some here. And I had it on the top here. So give it a fairly good coat. And then we'll shade it afterwards once it's dry. And you could probably do the same on the roof while we're at it. So the roof area had the snow just kind of halfway down. So you can just put your snow on there. And then there was a little bit on the side here. Not much, but a smidge. Like that. You can make more if you want. It's up to you. Oh, guys, not time to play. Okay, so you let that dry. Rinse your brush out. Okay, so we can let that dry. Now, I think we'll finish the cup now. While those are drying, we'll put more coats on the snow, but while it's drying, we may as well do the cup. Now, the cup is a tin cup, and I did it in kind of a yellow and green kind of color. So I want you to take that kind of a citron green, and if you have some yellow, take some yellow out too. Ray, the seedling membership is, if you look in the description, there's a link. And that link will take you to a page that will show you all the levels. And the seedling one is the first level, and it's $2.99 a month. If you're on a Apple product, you need to go into Chrome first, and then go into YouTube, and then onto my channel. For some reason, it doesn't show up on your phone if you go directly into YouTube without going through a browser first. Now, this takes practice, so if you haven't done it before, don't get upset with yourself. The best thing to do is to watch me first and then go through it. If you have any questions afterwards, you can always get a hold of me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and I can help you there. But if you're just starting out, it's always best to do this a couple times. So don't expect to get it right the first time if you're not used to doing some form of painting. The seedling one is $2.99 a month, and you get all my printables for all the painting demos that I do, the lessons, and it's also I have also like downloadables for printouts for different things, like say you want to use it in scrapbooking or making fedoras and that type of thing. I also have art that I've done that I give to you. And then the second level is an exclusive painting video with the downloadable. And that's once a month, and that's $6.99 a month, I believe. And then you get all the traceables added with that also. And then the third one is $24.99, and that's a private live, and we do all sorts of stuff. It's just not acrylic. It's also mixed media, file folders, watercolor, acrylic painting. It's everything plus all three levels. So you get all the downloads, you get all the printables, you get the video that's not put on YouTube, and also the private one that's live. Right, so we have the yellow here. This is a cabin in yellow light, I believe. Yes, yellow light. So I want to add just a smidgen of that green to this. So a little more on the yellow side than that green color. And I just want a quick, Chloe, enough, coat over the cup. Now the cup has snow on it also, so you don't have to do that part. And it's just the outside of the cup that's yellow. The inside of the cup is going to be a white or a light gray. So I'm brushing in the direction of the cup would be going. Try to get it straight. Okay, so I'll let that dry. And then the handle has got some yellow in it too. So I'm just gonna paint that. I'm gonna use a smaller brush. There's a little nail there that it's hanging on. Like so. Okay. We may as well do the inside here, and that one is just white with a bit of black, just a smidgen of black. We just want it just slightly off white. Make sure you got all that yellow paint out because you don't want yellow inside. So I'm going to take some of that white and just tip my brush in that just slightly. and do a base coat. Like so. And the outside edge and just around the bottom is actually black. So I want you to take just the black, nothing else on it. Make sure it's not too watery, your brush. And just, I think I'll use my small brush for this. And I'm just going to go around the rim of the cup. I'm going to do that part probably with a marker. And then the handle itself has just a bit of dark black on the inside of the handle. Just so but it's kind of speckled, so just dab. And then you can let that dry. And we're going to put a little bit of a glaze, I guess you could say, on the cup. Because it's one of those tin cups, I guess you could say. They're kind of two-tone, kind of blotchy sometimes looking. This would actually be cool in watercolor. So it's a little bit different, darker yellow, but it's more on the green side. So I'm going to take a little bit of that yellow and I'm just going to add a touch of this black to it, just to darken it. And then from the side of the cup, I'm just going to sweep it up again. It's too much water on my brush. I want it darker. And on the bottom. And just, it's kind of mottled, so I want you to just dab and then take your finger and smudge it around the brim of the cup also. Doesn't look a great color in the screen, but it's green, it's not brown. That's the trouble with computers. They don't show the right colors. And then just a little bit on the handle of the cup too. Just a smidge. Okay, now that this is dry inside here, so we want to give this a little bit of a coat. So it's going to be a little darker than this shade here. So I want to take that white again. And I want to add a little bit of black to it to darken it. And then around the bottom part here, still not dark enough. I want to add some shading. If you go over your line in the black, don't worry about it. You can always put it back in. It kind of goes up into that area, but there's more of it down here. And then before it dries, take your brush, rinse it out, take all the water you can, and then just walk it out with a clean brush, so it doesn't have that real hard edge. Might put a little bit more white in there. You need a little bit of a highlight here. So just dry brushing a little bit. And then with that white, I'm just going to put some lines of white. And then take my finger and smudge it. And some on the very top of my handle too. Just a bit of a highlight there. Now there'd be a little bit of a highlight on this yellow part. So take your brush. You want a dry brush. So the highlight will probably be about here. So just a bit of difference in color. And then I want you to take your white pen marker. Hey, Kathy, no problem. It's recorded and you can stop and start it. It's the best way to do it, so you can catch up with what I'm doing. I'm just putting a little bit of, I guess it's chipped edges of the cup, because it's a enamel cup. We're just going to add a few in here too. I'm going to take my black one also and just give a little bit more definition. It's kind of sketchy looking, but a little bit more black definition in here. Keep the white though. Oh, and yeah, and the base too is dark. Right, now we can put the snow in that too. So we had that white and a little bit of that violet color. And that's put on the top of this cup. I can go over my lines a little bit just so they don't show anymore. Snow can be any size you want. If you want really heavy snow, you can do that. Go. All right, now we'll do the shading of the snow all at once with all of it. So let's do the bird. Now, what I've picked is a woodpecker, a little woodpecker. So they're kind of a gray, dark black, a little bit of white in them, and a red mark on the back of their neck. So we'll do the gray first. So let's see. Chloe, you're being a pain. It's not time. So they think she can convince me that it's time to have supper. It's not. So the breast, I'm going to do medium to light gray color. So I've just mixed some white with a little bit of black. And I'm just doing a little bit. You don't have to worry about strokes of feathers yet. We're just doing a base coat. Around the head area, you might want to use a smaller brush. And above his eye in that little area is put the gray also. We're going to put white on top of it. And under his eye, he kind of has a line of black from his eye. So this goes to about there. And that is where the right into here. And then the back wings are going to be the black. So you can get mostly black on your brush. It can be a little bit lighter if you want. And the top of his head would be the black. This is going to be more of a cute looking little bird. His eye. And then, oh my gosh, you guys hear her? It's like she's never had dinner. She's pitiful. And then underneath is black. Oh my goodness. Chloe, you're pitiful. No, it's not time. You need to go lay down. And then is the back wings, just fill it all in black because we'll put the white marks over top of it. If it's a little streaky with a bit of gray running through it, that's even better. And try and go in the direction that the feathers would be running. Okay, just a minute. I'll have to take her out. Sorry, guys. She's probably fooling, but cannot take her out if she's running to the door. Okay, so I'm going to stop there for a minute, and I'll take my dog out, and I'll be right back, and you guys can catch up. Okay. Come on. Here. Okay. Here we go. My carrot. Sorry about that. They gotta go, they gotta go. All right, so that black area right in here. Let's see. That's black there. And up here. And then a little bit of red, just a smidge. Yes. So any red will do. So just at the base of their neck there. Now with a little bit of that white that we had mixed with the gray, now we can do some little markings on his wings. So there's like a little bit of a larger pattern. Just kind of dots actually, because this is a small drawing of a bird. So just have these little white tips on their feathers. And okay. Then I'm going to take my black pen marker. Just make sure I got that eye in good. And the beak can be a little darker on the bottom. A little pointed. Now you can either take your white marker or your black marker and do this. We'll start off with the body, I guess. So because we have the white on black or on gray, it'll look fluffy and feathery if you use a pen marker. It's kind of hard to do it with a, especially this small a bird. So the direction of the feathers are important. So with because he's on the side view, I'm just going to put some white marks on the outer edge. Downy or hairy. I don't know. It's just a woodpecker. And then you just, I don't know if this is, I might need to use a white pen instead. We'll see. Yeah, this is going to be too. Let me dry this first. Okay, I've got a gel pen here. I think we'll try it with this. So what I want to do is just do very short strokes along the outside edge. Fairly concentrated because he is on a side view. So the more you get into where you would be facing head on, which would be in this here area here, it wouldn't be as concentrated. So you got to remember which way the feathers would be going. So downwards and then across. So it's just kind of making them look fuzzy, I guess. And flick it into the black areas too. That'll give it a little bit of a fuzzy look. Kind of a cute looking. Cute woodpecker. Just put a little dot for the glisten in his eye. So then you just do a bunch of dabs. Dab, dab, dab with a gel pen, or if you have a really fine Posca pen, that would be good. You could try this with a colored pencil, white colored pencil. But you still want to be able to see that gray coming through. So, don't color it completely up. Go over the wing part a little bit, show he's fluffy. You concentrate the white strokes more along the edge, because that shows dimension. Maybe he's got some around his feet. He's cold. Okay. I'll take some of that. And then we can put a few lines in for the feathers. A few lines. Not many, just a few, and lightly. You can just take your finger and sweep it back a little bit. And then if you have a micron, you can do the same with the black. In his head. Put a few little strays. Make him look cute. So this isn't necessarily a realistic looking little guy. Just along the outside edges of the white. And then just, I think his beak go in there. like so. We'll put his feet in while we're here. So that. If you want to do any more cracks in the wood, you could do that too while you're at it. Now let's finish this snow up. And the snow has to be given just a smidgen of shadowing. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to take that white again. And remember I had that lavender, so let's add a little bit more lavender to it this time. Just a bit more. So we want it a little darker than what we already have on our, as our snow. Not a lot though. So let's, and then test it. So let's say this here would have a little bit of shadowing. Is that going to be dark enough? Maybe not. Nope, needs to be darker. So I think I'm going to add a little smidgen of that blue. That gray blue. Just to give it that difference. Let's see. That's better. And you just go along the edge where it would be, because the snow would be pooling, folding over slightly. I don't know if you can see that. Could be a little darker yet, I think. Okay. Just a bit darker. Just along the edge. You don't have to put it on all of it, but if it had been sitting there for a while, you'll see a slight shadow, depending on how thick it is. Maybe in here. And then I'm going to have a little like shadowed area right here, I think. Okay. And then this here would be shadowed along the edge. Under here. Now with these, you could take a smaller brush, same color, and there would be shadow underneath. And this has a hole in it. It's where the water goes, your hose connects to that. Originally, that's what it was before. And they just put this on the birdhouse as a perch. So you just put a little dabs here and there. like so. And remember, we had this snow painted or mixed with the violet and the white, so it's not a true white. So now we can highlight it actually. So we take just plain white, and just at the very top, make sure there's no too much water in here. You can do this with your Posca markers too. Just do a few highlights, not a lot, but just a few. So here there would be and then on here, leave some of the shadowing. Gonna need a bigger brush. Just a very thin line on this over here. Just on the top. Like so. Oh, they look similar. Harry is a bit bigger. They're all cute as heck to watch. I didn't know they were called that. Interesting. Okay, so there it is so far. It's almost done. So now we can take a look at it, see if there's anything we would want to change. The only thing for me, I think I would want just a smidgen of maybe a glaze of a shadow underneath the bird here. So I just got a very watery mix. Just put a little bit of a shadowed area under the bird. Like that. And I think I'm going to put just a bit under here. Maybe a little bit more there. And I think he is done. Now we can either leave him like that, or we could sprinkle some snowflakes. I think he needs snowflakes. So I'm going to take my fan brush. This is a bristle fan brush. And I had lots of water in my and I'm just gonna drip some big ones around. And that's it. And there he is. That's my February. So I could put, this is going to be my February folder. So this, I can also put February written down here or across the top. So I hope you enjoyed it. And if you at all interested in more of these, let me know. And leaving me a comment and let me know what kind of painting you want to see done so I can draw them up and we can do them. So I hope you had a fantastic day, and we'll see you next Tuesday, I believe. And that's for my watercolor class that I'm doing for beginners. And if you haven't done it for a while, maybe you want to take a refresher on it. And we're going to have lots of fun on that too. So have a good day, everybody. Give this a try. Don't be hard on yourself if you don't get it done right away. Take your time. It takes time. So you may have to do this more than once. That's fine. That's how I work. A lot of times I do these 2 or 3 times. So take the time, enjoy the process, and stay creative, everybody. Have a good day. Bye-bye.